Hello, thinkers. Welcome back to the Apex Mind. What we're going to talk about today is what a god should be. Now, once again, to introduce the concept of God for everyone out there, let's define God, right? God is the ultimate principle in anything. So, any culture, any philosophy, any logic, the point of God is that God should be above all, right? So, when you talk about a God, uh, logic, God should be above logic, right? I don't know. Truth. I mean, God should be truth, or even better if he's above truth. I usually conflate the two. So, like, God and truth are similar in nature to me. If it's the universe, God should be above the universe. If it's law, God should be above the law, and so on and so forth. Anything that you can imagine, God should always be above it. God should be the ultimate, final, highest summit of everything. That is what a god is, right? Now, God is a different thing in different cultures. For example, in a Abrahamic culture, by Abrahamic culture, I mean the religions that came out of the West, which is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In those three cultures, and the subset of those three cultures, a god is a creator being, right? God is the one who created the universe. That is how he's introduced in the Bible, that is how he's referred to in the Torah, and that is what he's referred to in the Quran as well. So God is the creator entity, God is the one who gave everything, and therefore God is the source of everything in those cultures. Very much understood. God is also termed by three things, which is omnipotence, omnibenevolence, and omniscience. So, and I think omnipresence, a fourth thing also. So the point is, God is all powerful, God is all knowing, and God is all loving. And in some interpretations, God is able to be present everywhere, right? So that's all cool and all, but what does that say about what a god should be? From their example, we can understand that a god should at least be powerful, and a god should also have all sorts of knowledge. What I draw a problem with is the concept of an all loving god. The problem with an all loving god is that excludes the hating aspects of God, which is logically inconsistent. In their understanding of God, God is truth, and God is all loving also. When I ask them whether their God can lie, the answer I get is that he can't because he's truth. Okay. Then I ask them if God can infinitely hate, like he can infinitely love. They say he can't. Now, explain to me something. If a god is incapable of doing half the things in the world, right? If there are good things, there are bad things, and if he can do all of this, but he cannot do all of that, wouldn't that god technically simply be half of everything? And does it make sense logically? If God is the source of everything, that means He created evil as well, right? He created the sources of evil, at least. He created Satan, He created all the beings in which uh, like uh, evil can stem from. Otherwise, you're going to say that Satan was able to create something that God wasn't able to, which was evil. And in that interpretation, Satan is at least equal to God, and Satan ends up being an anti God, right? But that also makes God incomplete simply because God wasn't able to create everything. Or couldn't, or maybe he didn't, whatever you want to say. He was not the source of everything, and hence he is an incomplete reflection of the world, an incomplete creator of sorts. But that's all aside besides the point, except for one thing, which is that it's an incomplete god compared to, let's say, dharmic faiths, in which God, Krishna, uh, Vishnu, Shiva, whatever you want to call the god in Hinduism or Vedanta, the god concept is a source of everything. A very common thing among all traditions within Hinduism. Each of them have a different interpretation of what is the ultimate god, by the way. The commonality is that they believe God is the source of everything, including the bad. In the Bhagavad Gita, this book. Yes. So in the Bhagavad Gita, when Shri Krishna shows Arjun his Virat Roop, which is his uh, complete form, right? In that, Krishna is doing everything. He's killing people, he's birthing people, he's saving lives, he's taking lives, he's good, he's bad, he's everything. And he says that. He says that I am the source of everything. All the people that you are going to kill are the people I have already killed. You're just an instrument for me to do the same. Amazing. Because it affirms that whatever God is doing is both good and both bad. God cannot by nature be either good or bad, because that will make him incomplete. He should have all of everything. And it also reflects Hegel's philosophy a lot. So, according to Hegel, if this marker exists, it is not simply a marker, it also has the rest of the universe within it. How? In the sense that if it can maintain its shape as a marker, therefore, whatever it is, the it also contains the property that it is separate from the rest of the universe, so it has an imprint of what the universe is. A difficult philosophical concept that I might elaborate on in future videos. But forget about it for a moment. The point is, the Abrahamic God is not how God should be, because it's incomplete. A God, if you're claiming it to be the source of everything, needs to have all aspects of creation within it. And even if I remove the logical inconsistency of this, there is another aspect, which is the character of the god, right? And now this is more so my aesthetic preference perhaps, but I do believe it has philosophical merit if I do dive deep into it. Let me know if you want me to do that. But on the note of aesthetics, so what I like about a god is a god which can, for all intents and purposes, uh, play. Right. Hindu gods love to play. Hindu gods love to contradict each other also, and that is part of the divine, right? A divine should not make sense to you, in my opinion. Divine should have the ability that if the divine wants, they can make it make sense to you, but inherently their property should be beyond human limitations. So the idea is that God is unlimited, right? And because of that, our human perspective should not be able to understand any sort of that deity. But if God decides that we are worthy of understanding, God can come down and communicate it to us, and we'll immediately get it. Why? Because God was never limited to explain it, right? So that is how it should be, but that is not the case with Abrahamic cultures. A lot of times, God does very evil things, like genocide for all intents and purposes, and then he claims that the reason it's okay is because he's God, or it is divine commandment or whatever. I don't like that. And because I don't believe that to be a very godly aspect of a god. It feels very keeping you in the dark. That's not how a god should be. And the Abrahamic god is quite damn serious as well. A brooding old man who commands whatever he commands, and who's arrogant, who requires that you either convert people or kill people. That is not the case with Hinduism. The Hindu gods, they're like enjoying, they're having their leela, they are working out according to a cosmic principle, which is also them and defined by them, by the way. But it's fine, they have fun. So fun having aspect is something that I would want more cultures to operate by. But anyway, this was all my idea of what a god should be. And let me know if you want to discuss more about this idea of god with me. I'll be happy to discuss it. Moving forward, more of my videos are going to be god and spirituality oriented, and obviously there will be always be philosophy within it, because that is what the channel is based upon. And it doesn't matter what I talk about, because at the end of the day, I'm still following the ethos of the channel that I ask you to do that. I also ask you to do, which is think, analyze, and notice patterns, because they're everywhere.